Welcome back, everyone. I'm the Depressed and this is Langrisser Mobile Apex Season 13. So, apparently, this is my second attempt to record this. I'm pretty sure I recorded this, and then somehow I deleted it, and somehow uploaded previous season video, which YouTube is usually pretty good about preventing duplicates from coming up, but they were fine with my last video, Season 12, apparently. Anyway, I've been a bit feverish during the weekend, and I was definitely feverish during these matches, and feverish during these recordings. So, just get that out of the way. As for updates, Girl in the Shell is 6 stars. I don't remember if she hit 6 stars at the end of the last season or not. We also have Polyol. I went ahead and replaced Sherry. Sherry's kind of fallen off quite a bit as far as meta is concerned. A lot faster than it did than she did in the Chinese servers. Polyol is only 4 stars, but she is holy and she does have some unique aspects that work better with my particular box at the moment. I do intend on replacing her pretty soon, but compared to Sherry, she can kind of accomplish things that are pretty useful, which is surprising because most people just use her for the AoE, and I'm not really an AoE box. In any case, our opponent here is Fuderu. Very common thing I ended up seeing for this season's placement matches is a lot of old school Ares and just a lot of physical rush, either physical AoE rush or physical assassin rush, or just single target rush. It's pretty rough. In any case, my opponent opens by getting rid of Sword and Light and Shadow. I went and got rid of their Sword and Light and Shadow. Grab Lightbringer as usual. Casting patterns are, as far as casting patterns are concerned, Yulia had everything except accessories maxed out. Polyol was she has some casting enchants, but not all of them. She's missing a bunch. But for the most part, everyone else is completely maxed out. So my opponent grabs SP Matthew, who's super annoying. SP Matthew can cover the entire map and hit you with an AoE turn 1, very similar to Clotaire. So at this point, I'm just trying to get rid of as many long-range physical AoEs as possible. Went ahead and got Ironblood Commander, who I actually forgot I even had in this box still. I'm glad I have her, but she wasn't someone I remembered having. Emperor Lavina, who's of course used for AoE as well as helping with rushing, got rid of the single targets that are annoying. At this point, there's not really much else that's really that dangerous besides Ironblood Commander. So went ahead and grabbed a Susa, who we haven't seen too much lately. My opponent went ahead and went to Rosen Seal. At this point, that opened it up so I can go ahead and get rid of Juggler, get rid of Ironblood Commander. And for the most part, the only DPS that remains is Tensei Jessica, so not really that big of a deal. So I grab Polyol at this point because I'm getting down to just tanks and healers, which is an unfortunate disadvantage of going 2 tanks, 4 healers, and grabbing a tank right off the bat, because your opponent could just force you to take additional healers or additional tanks, which isn't a bad thing. It's just it does box you in as far as DPS is concerned. So my opponent went ahead and grabbed Lightbringer, and at this point I go ahead and get rid of the remaining casters. So I was like, you can either have another healer or another tank. And they grab another tank. So the big thing here is I probably should have considered getting rid of Hilda, because the way I use Polyol takes advantage of the displacements, which Hilda negates. So unfortunately, letting my opponent have Hilda was a mistake. Alright, usual kit for Ironblood Commander, full offense with Sandsea Mercenaries. Polyol, I went Unflinching, 3C, went Trent Guards. I do have her equipped with Tiamat armor, so I'm trying not to give her any holy troops. And then I went Brute Strength. Brute Strength is pretty much suplex, but it's not an attack, it's an AoE. That's a single target AoE, which means it can't be guarded against. So what you can do with this is you can literally go up and displace an enemy away from the tank and then finish them off. And if you do this attack while in in defensive terrain, you can act again. So pretty useful, except for the fact that, of course, Hilda negates displacement. So my bad. And Sophia, I went ahead and just grabbed more healing rather than a rewind. There's not really much I need to rewind in this particular battle. Susa went Fighting Monks, and then her usual kit. And then Lightbringer, of course, I brought Phalanxes, and then her usual kit. My opponent, their Lightbringer, actually brought Holy Shield Bash, which makes it so they, which is essentially a single target that gets stronger the more allies are dead. So she ended up going for that instead of Discipline. Matthew is pretty much mostly standard. Strike his exclusive AoE, and then he actually brought Sword Dance, which is actually the biggest danger. Is both him and Emperor Lavina both brought Sword Dance, which of course can negate healing, which can be kind of dangerous for my non-tanks. Hilda's kind of standard kit, full defense. Risen Seals, full heals. Didn't bring Shrine Maidens. Emperor Lavina, besides that, unflinching with Heavenly Conquest. So yeah, a lot of Angels and a lot of Royal Protectors to kind of help mitigate the magic damage, which I don't actually have a lot of magic damage. Any characters that can do magic damage also do physical in some form or fashion. So right off the bat, I'm just going to be really aggressive here. There's no avoiding the AoE that's going to hit me, so I'm just kind of going to push forward and take the center. And my opponent actually went very defensive here, which is going to be costly because it means that it leaves me free to kind of just push forward and start taking the middle. And it doesn't matter how tanky you are if you're in the Death Mist. Alright. Yeah, Polio in this match got a lot of breeze procs, and I didn't really need them. I couldn't really take advantage of any sort of like pushing or anything like that because obviously Hilda is there. So I usually use this to kind of like set up to do a rush strat, but my opponent decided to use the teleport just to get further away. I'm guessing my opponent was really concerned about Poliol, since she's a new character and the new AoE powerhouse around, but I had no intentions of actually doing any AoEs. Alright, so I get hit here. So this this ability does do a debuff, which does, well, one, it cannot be healed, which is annoying, but it also makes it so you take fixed damage based off the number of steps you take before attacking, which can be a bit dangerous. My tank, of course, is immune to heal negation, so that's not an issue. So at this point, I was like, whatever, I'm just going to push in and kill you anyway. I chose to go physical with this attack. So yeah, I did the physical version over 3C so I can bypass the Angels. And it actually got killed. Yeah, unfortunately she couldn't heal herself. Actually, I don't even know if Faith can even heal yourself, but now she's going to get hit with this AoE. Kills the Susa. Polio, of course, can self-res, so it's not a huge deal. And then he just teleports back. Good old Matthew. So yeah, at this point I was like, alright. Well, since you're going to do this... so some options my opponent could have done is it could have just pushed forward with Lightbringer. That would have given an opportunity to heal up my characters, but it also meant I wouldn't be able to immediately kill Emperor Lavina like this. I was completely fine with trading a Susa for Emperor Lavina. I have more DPS than my opponent, and I have the center. So I killed one unit, so this gets plus 15% damage. Does okay damage. And of course, sword infantry troops versus spears has an advantage as well. Yeah, so just some regular heals. Not too concerned about Polyols, and she can self-res. Alright, Radiant Glow. What's neat about Radiant Glow is it can dispel two debuffs before the heal, which is usually all of the normal heals heal first and then dispel, which makes that's what makes the heal negation so annoying. So got hit with Sword Dance, Skybreaker drop is coming. But it didn't do. It actually didn't do a lot of damage. I guess one thing to note here is, yeah, the attack buff is. No, he did strike, didn't he? He should have gotten some bonus. Oh yeah, so yeah, I forgot to mention this part. So moving here, moving here provided guard from Lightbringer, but it was completely out of Hilda's aura, so he was no longer immune to displacement. So even though this is normal terrain, I won't get the extra action. This will allow me to get Matthew out of guard range, and Hilda can't get close enough, and neither can Rosenseal. So at this point I was like, alright, well, I'm going to go ahead and hit you with this. Not quite kill, even with a crit. Yeah, a little bit of extra healing, but I have initiative for next round. So I'll go ahead and just do a regular attack. And there you go, at that point my opponent has just 2 tanks and a healer left. For some reason Hilda did transform into cavalry, I don't know why. Probably just to prevent the sword troops of Ironblood, is my only guess. But it did open her up to my spears at least. So yeah. Tanks are clashing, not really getting anywhere. And I'm kind of just trying to keep my opponent from moving into the center. We're actually past the center at this point. So, doing some regular attacks, just to keep softened up. Alright, mist is closing in, and even without the mist, I have enough offensive power to actually get kills. Because all I have to do is kind of pass their turns until they can't do anything, and then start attacking. But instead, my opponent decided to attack with Rosenseal for no reason. So this is actually significant, because one of the things that was keeping me from attacking Hilda was the fact that Lightbringer would guard for Hilda, and I want to kill Hilda first because she's more vulnerable. And since Rosenseal moved up, I can attack Rosenseal and force Hilda to guard it. And just go straight for kill. So, knock off a life from her. And at that point, my opponent gave up. Alright, so this being the first week of the new season, that means there's going to be 5 placement matches, so you're going to get more matches, assuming I win them. Or if it's an interesting loss, I'll show those as well. So yeah, as far as the previous match is concerned, got to show off Azusa, and didn't get to show off Azusa really, but I got to show off Polyol, which was nice. So we're fighting against the Lestel, apparently. Like, this is actually Lestel, apparently. My opponent opens by getting rid of Lightbringer, which actually makes my start easier. So I go ahead and get rid of their Sword and Light and Shadow. And I grab Christiane. So, no Holy Faction, but I have Princess. My opponent did get rid of Sword and Light and Shadow and Rosenseal and goes straight for Woodham. My opponent's box is essentially all rush. Like, everything here is some sort of rush strat. We got Akaya, we got Iris, which we haven't seen in forever. We of course have Ironblood Commander. And then we have a lot of characters that can either bypass guard, hit really hard, or it can do AoEs, or all of the above. Go ahead and grab Lucretia. Go ahead and get rid of my Polyol and my Sophia. Polyol is kind of there just to be ban bait in most cases, because I don't really intend on using her that much. So that works out. My opponent did get Ares out, which is really bad, because Ares is my bane of existence. It was nice when he was no longer being used. So yeah, I went ahead and get rid of, yeah, I got rid of, who did I get rid of? Yeah, I got rid of Juggler because I didn't want to deal with any of that guard negation nonsense. I also got rid of Epsilon because he's just a pain to deal with in general. And then I went with Leona for my healer because at this point I didn't really have many healers left to begin with. At this point I'm just getting rid of assassins. There's not much left besides just stuff that's just going to help out the current problems. We did grab Girl in the Shell. They go ahead and ban the rest of my melee types, essentially. And I went ahead and went with Sissy White. I could have brought Autumn Kelmo, but I wouldn't really have a reliable way of buffing her besides, you know, Attack Blessing or Gospel. And since I was going to be dealing with so much AoE, I felt like I was going to need another healer anyway. My opponent, of course, grabbed Iris, which means they're going to be teleports. So we have high mobility that goes up to 30% attack and int, and then we have Iris that can provide a teleport and additional damage. So that combination is just going to hurt us pretty bad. And then, of course, my opponent grabs a Rosen CL. So at this point, it's just kind of baiting out their AoEs and hoping I can survive long enough. This match, I make some pretty significant mistakes. So yeah, right off the bat, Akaya, she has her exclusive weapon, of course, so she's going to summon a wolf for free. And then use that wolf to buff everybody. So plus 2 mobility and plus 30% attack and intelligence. So real quick, Leona here, nothing too special, 3C heal, act again. Sissy White, mass heal with 3C and Shrine Maidens. All my healers use Shrine Maidens. Lucretia, single target sorceresses. Christiane, standard kit with phalanxes. And then Girl in the Shell, I have her 2 exclusive skill, or I have her exclusive 1 cost skill, her 3C, and then Dark Reaper, and went Crystal Warlocks. And then my opponent's Wedem did go AoE, so he has his unique AoE as opposed to a single target. Iris here brought all of our teleports. Rosen Seal went full heals with sorceresses. Ares is Ares, and Akaya we already talked about. She did bring Spirit Tremble to be able to attack as well, which is her 3C. So yeah, I'm spreading out as best as I can. I took Voyage Upgrade. One thing I keep forgetting about Voyage Upgrade is it only works when you're using the 3C. It doesn't heal other target. It doesn't heal your party if you're using normal attacks or anything like that, only when you're using your 3C. So here's the teleport, so he's now set up. So yeah, 30% attack, and I think it's like plus 20% damage. I went ahead and popped my my 3C. So one thing to note is at the beginning I procced my exclusive helmet, which got me 2 additional coins, bringing me up to 4. And when the wolf died, it gave me an additional coin. It also buffed everyone's... No, it didn't buff anything else. She got an additional coin from the summon being destroyed. Anytime a summon unit gets destroyed, she actually gets a coin out of it. Usually it's just to refund her own stuff, but it actually works on other people's as well. But yeah, in any case, yeah, plus 20% damage here from the teleport. So I went ahead and did the 3C just to give Girl in the Shell additional action, because I'm going to have to react to these AoEs. Like this one that's coming my way. Yeah. He does more damage the more enemies are around him, so it just does tons of damage. And now, since there's characters wounded, Wedem can easily teleport into range. So at this point, I'm kind of screwed. So I went ahead and just moved up and healed as much as I could. Now, I didn't realize actually moving up here was actually going to save me, because it does a few things. When she healed herself, she got... So when units die, when your allied units die and there's a Wedem, they put Despair on you. And what this does is it makes it so you can't be guarded. It also has certain effects with his Shadow Step, which allows him to act again if he happens to be right next to a character with Despair. But what ended up happening here was, as you can see, we have Despair on these 2 units. Despair got removed off of Christiane, and she's back to full HP. and Liana had Despair, but when she healed herself, it actually removed the Despair, but not anything else. So what this will do, and it's something I didn't realize what was going to happen. Like what I thought this battle was over at this point. I thought what was going to happen was Shadow Step, which allows you to teleport to anyone that's not at 100% life. So he would have teleported to here, and then from here he could have done pretty much anything he wanted. He could have done his sword thing, then move down to here and do his other AoE and just kind of wreck everything. But I didn't realize that I had gotten rid of Despair. Well, one, I didn't realize that there was a requirement for the Shadow Step to act again. If it's not next to somebody that is despaired, or if the sword is not out, it doesn't actually provide an act again. So what I just did there, by the way, is since I was fully buffed up thanks to Sissy White, I went ahead and used... I had 3 random spells from Arcane Transversal, and one of them was... can't remember what it's called, Disrupt or something like that. I can quickly look at it again. Demolish. So yeah, Demolish, which actually did a lot of damage. And it dispelled a buff as well. So it actually... Yeah, it took a good chunk out of Ares. And then at this point, I'm like, alright, here comes White App, he's going to kill me. Here it comes. And he teleports, and that's it. So because of that, now I have initiative for this round. Now, another mistake I made, unfortunately, was since I had used Sissy White's 3C, it overwrote all of my faction buffs. So right now, Girl in the Shell doesn't actually have an attack buff. I could have easily gotten kill here with Ares against Ares, but I was thinking, hey, you know, you don't really. I thought I could maybe pull off something with Dark Reaper. Also, looking at it again, I just realized that he had magic defense buff as well. So yeah, in all honesty, I should have just went after Ares here, but I didn't. So instead, I went to here, did Dark Reaper, did pretty good damage, but not quite enough. If I had an attack buff, I probably would have gotten kill. So yeah, at this point, now here comes Shadow of Elazar. And then I'm going to get hit with this, which nearly kills Liana here. Now here's the good news. I had lost 1 unit in the puppet, but Wedham's now on cooldown, and so is Ares. So at this point, I had succeeded in surviving the initial onslaught. So now I just need to be able to capitalize on it before the next wave of AoEs come. So with that, I went ahead and used Sissy White to go ahead and kill the sword. And then use the 2 coins I have to go ahead and summon a Lancer to guard with. So yeah, one thing about Wedham's AoE is it can prevent, it negates guard. It prevents healing and guarding for 2 turns. So summoning this elite mercenary is just to protect my units. Because of course here comes Ares. Right, nothing too special. I dispelled his heal, so I'm good there. So at this point I'm kind of just shifting around. So I shifted forward with Christiane just so I can get space for Liana to step forward and do act again on Girl in the Shell. And this time I'm not going to make the same mistake. So yeah, I went ahead and did 3C. Honestly, a normal attack would have been enough. Alright. Okay. Is that her second one or her third? It is her second one. Okay. So the buff I applied to the 3C is essentially the same as Lucretia's 3C, where it debuffs everything. It honestly is not going to matter too much because of the crystal barriers, but it was kind of the best option out of the bunch. Alright, so new round. So at this point, I'm just trying to... I went ahead and did Ode of Creation to get Girl in the Shell buffed up. I don't have to worry about any AoEs, so I'm good there. Get hit with Spirit Tremble. I'm at full HP, so Shrine Maidens are going to help negate a bunch of that. it is physical in this case because Akka's attack is higher than her int. So with that, I was able to just easily tank it. One thing I tend to forget often is Shrine Minions could only reduce physical damage, they don't reduce magic. So there are situations, even at full HP with Shrine Maidens, you can still get one-shotted by certain combinations of troops. Like, I actually got killed by a D-Heart once. It was surprising. So I finally had an opportunity to get rid of one flower stack. That's the biggest issue with Christiane nowadays, is you don't have time to actually get rid of her flower stacks anymore. So yeah, did a regular attack, finish off Kaya. And this last damage upgrade is you have additional damage against Holy and Mages, which conveniently is pretty much everything except for Wedem. So I went ahead and used my 3C at this point to go ahead and finish off Iris. It's going to be way overkill. Good stuff. And at that point, my opponent gave up. So yeah, really need to fight. I definitely made some mistakes. I should have gone for the easy kills when they came up, but thankfully my opponent also made mistakes. I don't know if my opponent really had any other options, because yeah, he had no place to teleport to. The only place he can teleport to was to Liana, and I was lucky that I got rid of the despair there. Usually you don't have to worry about that, because usually the way Wedem works is he just rushes forward, throws his sword out, and then does his little teleport shenanigans. But I'm guessing you wanted to keep the sword to do more AoE and to keep the sword close so you can reduce damage. Alright, another match for the placements. So we see Berserker, which I feel like I see him more often than I expect. But yeah. Berserker tends to be kind of unique as far as the box is concerned. You usually see stuff that you usually just don't see, like Albedo. It definitely feels like some of his units are not fully built, at least from the matches I've had with him in the past. But for the most part, this box is, yeah, it's a mixture of 3 tanks, 3 healers? Yeah, 3 tanks, 3 healers, and then a lot of single target stuff. I think the key thing here is the TRS. Using TRS in combination with all these heavy hitters to just try to punch through everything. So, go ahead and got rid of Sword of Light and Shadow. I have decided that Sword of Light and Shadow is more annoying than Jintoki in most cases. My opponent grabs Wedem, gets rid of my Iron Blood Commander. I get rid of Jintoki and get rid of Radam as well. Radam's also super annoying. I grab Lightbringer. My opponent gets rid of Girl in the Shell and Sword of Light and Shadow. Gets Rosen Seal there. So go ahead and get rid of Epsilon and Lucretia. I'm actually okay with Epsilon if there's no Rosen Seal, because then I could just grab Shafaniel to stun. But since they grabbed Rosen Seal rather early, I had to go ahead and get rid of them. So grab Lucretia. The good news is that since there's so many new units that are really, really good, I do get more opportunities to use Lucretia without much issue. My opponent did ban some more of my DPS. Nothing too special. Grab Sherry, which I'm not that concerned about. I go ahead and get rid of both a tank and Tensei Jessica. I specifically get rid of Christiane because I'm very much heavy in magic. Also, getting rid of one tank will force my opponent to pick a tank this round. So my opponent gets rid of some more of my healers. Grabs a tank, and at this point I get rid of both TRS and Liana, so I don't have to deal with any of that extra shenanigans. And that leaves my opponent either to take SP Element or take another tank. Albedo doesn't actually have a way of buffing herself besides her. She does have a guard skill that will increase her defense, but she doesn't have access to a faction buff, which is why she's usually not used that often. Alright, grab Liana. And then they go ahead and get rid of my other tank and my remaining healer, leaving me with both AoEs. So I went ahead and grabbed Shafaniel at this point. Shafaniel's actually really good against Wedem, because her AoE can both damage Wedem while destroying the sword. Because the sword is demon class. Alright, this is a single target Weta with Annihilation. We got Albedo here. Like I said, yeah, this one's... the reason why I said it feels like some of these characters are not fully built is, for example, Albedo here has Attack Intimidate, which is not something you usually you use in PvP, because it's not that good. But besides that, block and 3C there with Crystal Molders. Hilda with Crystal Molders and kind of the standard stuff here with guarding against Broken Arrow, which is useless. So the thing about Broken Arrow is it only works against physical range attacks, so it actually doesn't do anything against these characters. Sherry here, 3C with Shadow Raid, and then Rosenseal went full heals with Shrine Maidens. Standard Lucretia, Shafaniel I brought 3C with Demolish with Shrine Maidens. Lightbringer standard, same Liana as last time, and then Yulia I went. I think when I started the battle I kind of forgot that I could have brought her her attack that does 5 dispels, which would have been kind of useful in this fight. But this setup is completely fine as well. Godly Menace with her 3C is pretty good. And I did go Unicorns just for additional mobility, and honestly, Unicorns are not that bad against spears in most cases, because of the magic damage. So yeah, at this point, my opponent doesn't really have anything that helps mobility, so I can kind of just measure things out. So I keep myself at least one step out of range of Sherry's guard bypass skill, which has 2 range. And that lets me to kind of just safely set up. And then I do Odor Creation just to avoid getting possibly stunned. Alright. So I have the Reflect Ring and Thorns, and as you can see, it works like a charm. Something I noticed in in Chinese matches way back when is people we build Yulia as just very, very spongy with lots of HP and Thorns and stuff, and just use her to kind of soak hits. The other thing that's really neat about Thorns and Reflect damage is it will count towards your self-healing from Eternal Legend. Which is very useful because one of the biggest banes for Yulia is being attacked from range because she can't counterattack. So it's really helpful. It used to be I think initial advice for Yulia was to have her at low HP. That way her percentage for triggering Eternal Legend is easier to meet. But honestly, going Thorns has paid off, as you can see. It just flat out killed Sherry. At this point, my opponent's like, well, I'm going to go ahead and keep attacking for no reason. I mean, at this point, this is his only DPS that he has left. He probably was tilted because of the Reflect kill. So yeah, I don't know why he moved. I guess he's just trying to stay within range of the sword there. So yeah, got hit. I managed to avoid getting a heal reversal there, which is nice. Actually, I think she's immune to it, but I don't remember. In any case, 3C kills the sword and then heavily wounds Wadam and debuffs him. Both tanks cannot get in range to actually back up Wadam. The only thing that he can do to help is a 3C to heal him, which heals him to near full, and then I go ahead and finish things off with 3C. One of the few matches where I got to use Yulia to great effect. And that's match. Alright. I did have 2 other matches, both of them were losses. One of them was a single target rush, and the other one was AoE rush. That's when I learned the AoE rush that beat me was when I learned that SP Matthew can cover the entire map and hit me. It's really, really bad when it happens. The biggest issue, as always, is rush boxes. They are fast and very effective, and it's countering them. You have to recognize very early whether or not it's single target or AoE. If it's AoE, you kind of have to grab multiple healers really soon, and if you don't, you're kind of screwed. In most cases, your opponent's going to ban your Rosen Seal right off the bat, so you have to have a backup. So you have to grab at least 2 healers. Because what's going to happen is your healer's going to heal one of the AoEs, and then the rest of them are going to kill you. So you kind of have to figure out what you're going to do about it. And I'm still trying to figure that out myself. In any case, we do get to start in Silver 1, which is nice. And the season rewards for this season is is an Imelda skin and a skin for Warriors and Sandsea Mercenaries. Also, for those who didn't see my summoning video, sorry about that, I kind of scratched the mic there, so I'm going to cut that out. But yeah, I was going to show off my hero card where I got top 512 in Season 12. I was Gold 3 when I ended Season 12, so more than likely it just means less people are playing Apex, unfortunately. But it's still a win, and I did get the rewards for it, which was nice. It gave me a bunch of gold and gave me a lot of arena chance, which is really helpful. In any case, I apologize for messing up the upload for this this video, and hopefully this will be up soon, so you guys can actually see the new season and the upcoming box. The box is definitely going to be changing through the next few months. I'm going to have access to a strategic faction buffer next month. There's also an archer that's pretty cool, but I'm probably not going to use her. And then the collab characters that are coming out the month after. I'm definitely going to consider using the mage/healer type, and then the other character is kind of a strategic striker type that is kind of useful as well, which I may try out. And then after that, I believe it's the Awakener, who's a time faction buffer and really, really good. So yeah, I get to look forward to all of that. So yeah, that's it for me. I'm the Depressed Hero. This was Langrisser Mobile Apex Season 13. See you guys next time.